Sir Abdul Kareem, sir. Okay. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Shaju, sir.
Yes,
With
sir.
your
Now didn't.
with your consent, we are to start the program.
Okay, sir.
Okay. We will start the program with a silent prayer. Okay. Next is my turn to welcome the gathering. Respected Vice Principal Dr. K.Y. Shaju, sir. Abdul Kareem, IAS, Economic Advisor, Ministry of Information and Broadcasting. Rose Lisa, Head of the Department of Economics, aided. Other colleagues, dear students, good morning to one and all. I would like to start the welcome speech with a regret. Actually, we have arranged two talks pertaining to different aspects of Indian economy by two experts. One was PC Both, Senior Economic Advisor, Government of India, and other is Abdul Kareem, Economic Advisor, Ministry of Information and Broadcasting, and Abdul Kareem is our alumnus also. Today in the morning, PC Both informed me that he will not be available as there is need for attending a ministerial level conference. But Abdul Kareem is present for the webinar and he will deliver a talk on macroeconomic trends of Indian economy. He has wide experience as an economist and a policy maker. We are proud of you, sir, that you are here to deliver a talk on macroeconomic trends and fundamentals related to Indian economy. Abdul Kareem, I still remember you in the classroom as an ambitious student. In the second BA class, you sat in the middle row, first bench. I still remember that. In the third year class, you sat in the right row, third bench. You often make some changes. Your presence was conspicuous, asking doubts, raising questions, and sometimes disturbing your teachers. So we are proud of you, sir. And after graduation, you went to Dr. John Mathai Center. Then you were there in Madras for a short span of time and joined Indian Economic Service. I remember all these things because your presence as a student in the classroom was very conspicuous. So on behalf of Department of Economics, aided, on behalf of Department of Economics self, and on the behalf of Christ College, and on my personal behalf, and for the student community, I welcome you to this gathering, sir.
Thank you,
Next,
sir. Thank you, sir.
okay. Next, I should welcome Dr. K.Y. Shaju. He is designated as the senior most vice principal of the college, and also he is the head of the department of Physics, Christ College Autonomous. And today he is presiding over the function. He agreed to preside over the function, and he will deliver the presidential address also on behalf of Department of Economics. Sir, we welcome you to this gathering.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Next, I should welcome Sister Rose Lisa, who is present here, who is the present head of the Department of Economics, aided, and other colleagues like Anne Mary, Franco T. Francis, Jean Maria, Professor Shashi, and also I welcome who joined to participate in this program, my former students, present students, and all. Again, once again, I welcome you to all to this occasion, and let me wind up. Next, I invite Dr. K.Y. Shaju, Senior Most Vice Principal of the College, for the Presidential Address.
Thank you, sir. Most respected resource person, Mr. Abdul Kareem from the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting, New Delhi, and our past Vice Principal and present Head of the Department of Economics in the self, um, Professor Bose, PR, and other faculty members from the aided economics department, Sister Rosie and other my dear friends and dear students. I think everybody knows about Christ College and its history. So I think nobody is from outside Christ College, so I don't have to elaborate. Christ College was established in the year 1956 under the Devamada province of CMI, Carmelites of Mary Immaculate, which was an indigenous congregation established by Blessed Chavara Elias Kuriakos, and the institution considers education as one of the most important thing for the benefit of the community, especially in Kerala. And today you are going to have, the students are going to be benefited by a very important webinar by Mr. Abdul Kareem, and Christ College management is very happy that economics department is organizing such wonderful webinar series, and on behalf of the management I thank the resource person Mr. Abdul Kareem, and I request him to extend his service in the future years too for the benefit of our students. And I think the topic economics is very important in a country, especially in a developing country like India. Even though I am a physics teacher, I am very much interested in the economic activities or the policies which takes our country to one of the developing countries. I asked many times to, I think, to Bosar itself, what is the actual reason for the currency conversion rate of dollar and with Indian rupees, and what is the solution for our currency to be more strong. And I think that is still, it is not answered properly. I don't understand really. Actually the world economics considers the population as a uh, demoralizing thing. The number of human resource is bad actually, according to the economics policies. But actually I think the human resource is the most important thing. If that is true, India will be one of the developed countries, because we have various kind of resource persons, human resources. So I don't understand why people are economic policies are made against the population. Anyhow, that is one of my doubt. Still, it is not clear, but I am not taking any much time. This is a very interesting topic, economics, and I wish all the congratulations to the faculty members and to the students. And I ask the students to interact maximum with the resource person and take advantage of to the maximum. All the students should ask one question at the end. You should be prepared for that. If you initially take a decision that I will not ask any question, your hearing level it will be different. You will not listen carefully if you think like that. So every student should take decision that I will ask a question at the end. Okay, so the students, your learning level will be different. You will listen to each and every word by the resource person. So that is what I feel. One thing which is lacking with the students of Kerala, they are very behind in asking questions compared to other state students. Other state students are not brilliant as our students, but our students are very shy in asking questions and interacting with the resource person. So only with this request, I once again I congratulate the Department of Economics, and I also encourage to conduct more and more webinars like this for the benefit of our students. Okay, so I wind up. Thank you. Thank you very much, Bosar, and the resource person.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Thank you very much for your presidential address and the valuable advices given to our students, sir. Next is the core program. I invite Sri Abdul Kareem IES to deliver the talk on macroeconomics, economic fundamentals of Indian economy. I also expect that he will share his experiences as an IES officer and how does he captured this position as an IES officer and the work of a policy maker, etc., for the benefit of the students. Sir, please.
Good morning, sir. Thank you very much, the Chairperson, Dr. Shaju, faculty members, and dear students of Christ College. I am extremely grateful to the Christ College authorities for providing me an opportunity to interact with you and making a presentation on Indian economy. I'm really fortunate to interact with you because, it is always a learning experience to understand, to interact, and to communicate whatever the knowledge we have got from the college, from our officers, and our surroundings. Before going into the topic, I would like to give some impressions of my own while I was studying in Christ College. I studied in Christ College during the year 1984-86 for my pre-degree. It was, in those days, it was the pre-degree, not the +2. So I was fortunate to get admitted there in the third group of the Christ College. And then after passing the pre-degree, I got into the BA Economics from 1986 to 89. I would like to say that all my teachers in the Christ College were very supportive and encouraging. So whenever there was doubts, we used to interact with Dr. E.M. Thomas, Stephenson, Bosser, M.A. John, Professor M.A. John, Professor Joe Kolangad, and all these teachers very supportive. So because of their support, I could come out with some flying colors. I could get the gold medal for BA Economics from the college. So then for my MA, I joined Dr. John Mathai Center. It was a period from 89 to 91. So we could get a lot of learning experience from Dr. John Mathai Center. Some project prices, so project reports were prepared. And then I moved to Madras University. There's an affiliated institution known as Center for Research in New International Economic Order. So I did my MPhil in Environmental Economics under Professor Felix. He was a retired faculty from Lalor College, Madras. And after that, I keep on writing many competitive exams. And I was also, I have written this UGC, JRF, NET exams. So I could not be successful in the first 3-4 attempts. So it is after my in the fifth attempt I got the UGC lectureship. And in the very next attempt, I could gather the UGC JRF. So I am saying that, many attempts are required in order to clear these exams. So one needs to be very patient enough to take it in that stride and go for further preparations. So I joined, as part of this UGC JRF, I joined IIT Madras for my PhD program. So I spent around 1.5 years there. And then I wrote this Indian Economic Service exam, and I got selected. So I could not complete my PhD because of this thing. And then when I joined the Indian Economic Service in the year 1996. So this is my background in which I joined the Economic Service. And in the service, I worked in Planning Commission. In the Planning Commission, we have the regional office where they do the evaluation of many schemes implemented by the government of India. For instance, the public distribution, the targeted public distributions, the Narega, many central sector schemes are being implemented in states by the central government. So Planning Commission's Field Evaluation Office, or it's called Project Evaluation Office, they conduct evaluation studies, taking some sample districts and meeting the beneficiaries at the local level, then discussing with the district officers and state level implementing officers. So the first 10 years I was with Planning Commission. I worked in Chennai, I worked in Trivandrum, and then I came back to Delhi. So in Delhi, I was posted as Deputy Economic Advisor in the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. I spent almost 6.5 years there. And then I moved to the Economic Advisory Council to the Prime Minister. This was headed by Dr. C. Rangarajan. So after 1 year, then I moved to the Ministry of Finance in the Department of Economic Affairs. So I was fortunate to work with Dr. Advin Subramanian, who was the Chief Economic Advisor. So there we looked into the prices, we looked into the agriculture, separate sectors to which we were involved in the policy making. So right now I am in Ministry of Information and Broadcasting. You may wonder what is the role of economic advisor in the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting. Ministry mainly deal with the media sector, especially with the print, electronic, social and digital media. But everywhere there is an economics behind it. So we just contribute to the normal work of the ministry as well as some monitoring and evaluation of the schemes of the ministry. I would like to tell that my senior, Mr. P.C. Bodh, Senior Economic Advisor, was supposed to join this meeting. He was supposed to speak on the matter relating to agricultural distress and how the policies are being framed in order to improve the agricultural conditions. But due to certain urgent inconveniences, he could not make to this meeting. He has promised that he will make it in another 2 weeks' time. So, that's the reason why we could not hear him today. So one more thing I would like to tell you, in the year 2016, I had come to Rice College. Chief Economic Advisor, Dr. Arvind Subramanian, he made a presentation for the students on the status of Indian economy, on the results of the economic survey 16-17. So I was fortunate to accompany him as part of the team. So this is the basic background which I wanted to tell you. Then now I will come to the main subject, that is the macro trends in the Indian economy. So basically, I will just make a presentation, and then if you have any doubts, I'll be able to give my thoughts on that, because this should be an interactive session. We would like to know from you what are your concerns. Basically, I am here for you to evince interest in economics, because many times, when we read this text, we may not be knowing how these numbers are being worked out. What are the essentials behind these numbers? Where from these statistics come from? All these things, makes us curious to understand where from the data originates. So I can also share with you the sources of the data, so that the data will be main source from which you will learn more and more. So I am just taking my time to share the presentation. Hope it is visible. The screen is visible now.
Okay, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay.
The outline of the presentation is that, why we require macroeconomic stability. For an economy to grow faster, we require macroeconomic stability. And then many issues are also coming around economic growth, the need to grow faster. So what could be the reasons why we should grow at around 8%, 7 to 8%? Then we look into the macro indicators like GDP and inflation, why there is a need to have price stability. And then comes to some trends in the growth and inflation in Indian economy. So before we just come to before we analyze the trends, we need to understand some basic understanding of the economy. There should be some internal balance within the system. The GDP should grow in a robust way. The public finance should be sustainable, and the price situation, the price situation in the sense inflation should be within the normal situation. So whenever there are imbalances, or the government use the tax and expenditure policies through the budget to generate the demand and thereby growth. So every year we have the budget, and we use these fiscal policies in order to suitably adjust the system to generate more and more demand and thereby achieve the growth. So this stability must be consistent with fiscal consolidation. By fiscal consolidation means the revenue, the generation, our debt, everything should be moving in tandem. And the supply of goods and services should also be in tandem. Otherwise, this could lead to higher fiscal deficit, then supply shortages, and resulting in higher inflation. So I will go into these aspects in the coming slides. This is about the domestic balance we need. In the external side, we get a lot of foreign exchange. We import many of our items like our oil, uh, gold, etc., from the foreign. So for which we should have adequate foreign exchange with us. And there is also an exchange rate. The rupee, the vice chairman, vice principal was talking about the rupee rate, the exchange rate. So we need to have a stable exchange rate. So with globalization and increased capital flows like FDI, this current and account deficit, otherwise called CAD, must be kept at sustainable levels so as to maintain exchange rate stability. So this is the basic fundamental of an economy. We should have an internal balance and we should also have an external balance. Next one. So once we are discussing economic growth, what are our drivers of economic growth? The first and fundamental thing is the investment itself, because investment has to be generated in order to sustain the economy. Investment helps us in capital formation, and it contains fixed capital as well as the other components. For investment to grow, there should have adequate savings, and for adequate these savings must be converted to investment. In terms of domestic investment, we have government investment as well as the private investment. Government investment comes basically through the budget, the capital investment part, or the revenue investment. In the private investment come through the corporate sector, the household sector, etc., etc. And the household investment is through the physical savings and financial savings. The foreign investment comes through capital flows like foreign direct investment and foreign portfolio investments. So I'm just I'm just giving an overall picture how the growth happens. The growth mainly happens through the investment. And why the economy needs growth? Because if you look back in the year from 50 to 1980s, we call it as the Hindu rate of growth, or the growth rate was almost around 2 to 3%. So we could not have much improvement in our quality of life and population at that time, because we were in a very controlled state of economy. So we opened the economy in the year, to the public and private sector in the year 1991. So the basic motto of growth is improvement in the quality of life of the population. And through how? Through the creation of human capabilities, through improved health, education, and skills. And there should be, while we equip them with these facilities, there should be enough employment generation, so that those people who has got their education, they can be employed gainfully in those sectors. So the growth should facilitate human development, education, health, sanitation, thereby improving the literacy, low infant mortality and maternal mortality, and low levels of malnutrition. So why we need to grow faster? If we grow at around 6 to 7%, even 1%, I'm just saying that 1% growth in GDP could mobilize more than 1 lakh crore in the tax revenue to the government. Because once the economy expands, the more and more economic activities come, more and more money will flow to the government in the form of gross tax revenue. So this can absorb additional fiscal cost of implementing a food security bill or skill development plans. Because whenever we have to invest, the government has to invest, it should have adequate resources at its hand. If the adequate resources are not generated, we can't go for a higher growth. So this will, if there is higher growth, the unemployed, the underemployed, and less skilled will grab market opportunities and participate in the growth process. This is where the government will bring calibrated economic reforms to unleash growth process and at the same time social security in. Because still now we have a size of around 30% of the population below the poverty line. So for them, we need to invest, we need to put down more and more funds. We need to invest in health facilities. In Kerala, we do have all robust health facilities, but the states like UP, state like Bihar, there's need for health and wellness care centers. There's need for building up new schools, new colleges, so that we need to provide opportunities for the younger population. We have to utilize that demographic dividend in order to provide them skill, so that they can also become a useful manpower resource for the system. And then you may be thinking there's a need for price stability. Why price stability? A normal level or a moderate level of inflation in the range of 1 to 4% is good for the economy. But if it crosses that level, it becomes dangerous to the economy. It will impact the growth, indicating excessive demand and high prices. And because of these high prices, it creates uncertainty in decision making, and it also affects savings. And it makes speculative investment more attractive. And inflation, as you know, it affects the most poor, because the person who are below the poverty line, they are really affected by the higher price level. For instance, a person who is getting 200 rupees, every day, if the price level goes up for the food products or food grains, then he has to cut short his daily intake. So earlier he had to pay 100 rupees. Now he had to pay 150 rupees. So what he will do is that he will cut down his food expenditure. So we need to look into those aspects. With the increase in inflation, the real interest rate, that is the policy repo rate minus the inflation rate in the economy falls. There will be less incentives for savings, shifting to the gold, real estate, and less financial savings. As far as the industry is concerned, they will not take decisions for planning investment as inflation crosses a range. For these reasons, the central bank has always have, in our case, it is the RBI. They have fixed a range in which inflation should go. They have fixed around 2 to 6%. Plus or minus. So the range of inflation should be between 2% and 6%. If it goes above 6%, they will hike the repo rate. Repo rate means the rate at which the central banks fixes the interest rates at the macro level. So if at the time of higher inflation, central bank raises repo rate to reduce the excess demand. So this is the basic setting in which the economy, we are looking to the various sectors of the economy. So if you see the last row in the table, it's called real GDP at the market prices. In the year 2014, we had 7.4% growth. That is the real GDP. Then in the next year, we increased to 8%. In 16-17, we had 8.3%. And from that year onwards, there has been a slowdown. If you can see, the growth reduces to 6.8, then it comes to 6.5, and the year 1920, it was 4%. So you can see that there has been a slowing down of the economy in the last 3-4 years. And as you are very well know, in the year 2021, actually the COVID had a very, very negative impact. It actually affected all the sectors. And the growth rate we are expecting is minus 7.7%. So I'm just putting these facts to you. I mean, it is up to you to look into each and every figure. So whether this the trends in these years, will give an indication to which the economies move. So I'm just highlighting two sectors, three sectors. This is agriculture sector. Agriculture sector, we have been studying in our college days, maximum population is dependent on agriculture. But the share of the GDP is now around 18% out of the total GDP. We have seen that it was only sector in which, the COVID did not get affected. COVID affected each and every sector, but agriculture remained insulated. If you can see the last column, 2021, it is expecting a growth rate of 3.4%. And if you look into the 2014, there was a negative growth in agriculture sector, and then in 15-16 it was 0.6%. Actually, the main issue was that actually there was a price decline of agriculture product produced during that, and there was also some monsoon related issues. There was drought conditions, so that was the reason why agriculture could not perform well in 2014-15. But since then, from 16-17, 17-18, agriculture has been reasonably doing well. And one of the growth has been mainly coming from industry and service sector. If you see the industry, it has been almost good, robust growth of 7% in 14-15, 9.6% in industry in 15-16, and 7.7% in 16-17. But then over the years, there has been a slowdown. So the main components of industries are mining and quarrying, manufacturing. Manufacturing is one of the important sectors of the economy, because China, you may be aware, has a strong manufacturing base. So India is also trying to build a manufacturing base, but still we are in the process of gaining that achievement. Then we look into the other components of industry are the electricity, gas, and other utility services. They are also doing well. Construction is another important sector, wherever the buildings are constructed, the laborers get employed. In the infrastructure sector, whenever we take many projects, the people from the labor class, they gainfully get employed in these sectors. So industry has been doing well, but for the last 2 years, you can see that in 1920 it was negative 1.2, and the COVID has affected the sector very much, especially in the manufacturing sector, the mining and quarrying sector. So roughly, industry covers almost 22% of the GDP. Then the major sector in which the Indian economy is relying is the service sector. It is having 54% of the total share of the GDP, and it has to grow in a robust way in order to continue our journey on on the path of economic growth. But as you know, the COVID was very, very unkind, and it really, because of our social distancing norms, in COVID we can't come together. We had to follow the social distancing, we had to follow the hand washing, we had to follow the masking. So because of that, we can't travel. Tourism got affected. You can see that the trade, hotels, transportation will include air, rail, road, every travel got affected. the communication and services for broadcast. These are the components. So the hospitality sector was severely affected, and you can see that in 2021. Actually, these are all estimates because 2021 is yet to be get over. So this is CEO's quick estimates. They say that it is negative 21.4% will be our estimate for 2021. Only silver lining was the online platforms, like your communication through the online system, information technology. They were insulated from this COVID because we have this technology, this online technology by which I interact with you, so that that gave us the space to for that type of IT related services was not affected by the COVID. But other components like finance, real estate, professional services, they all got affected. The growth rate is, you can see in the right last column, it was 0.8%. And the last row before the real GVA is actually, this is called the governmental expenditure on services, like the public administration, defense. They pump through revenue expenditure and capital expenditure. So this has been relatively less affected during the last few years. That means the public investment is reasonably there in these sectors. So then the last but one row is the real GV at basic prices. And then we have what is the difference between real GV at basic prices? Real GV at basic prices means the taxes are not included. Like, whatever taxes we collect is actually included in the market prices, taxes or subsidies. So GVA is actually at the basic level. But once we are putting at the market prices, we are including the taxes collected. So our economy is likely to contract by 7.2% in 2021. So this is a picture of the economy. So my request is that you may look into those numbers through the economic survey or the budget documents. Now all the things are available online. If you type out economic survey 2021, it will come with all the 2 reports are there. And in that report, we have a statistical appendix, which gives you a time series right from 1950 to 2020. 70 years data is available on various sectors of the economy year by year. This is a graphical representation of what I have told. So you can see that almost in 2021, the growth rate has fallen negative because of the COVID. Only silver lining is the agriculture sector, where it is showing a growth rate of the red color. Red color shows the agriculture sector. So it shows a growth rate of 3.4%. But other sectors are showing a decline. And Indian economy is likely to project a growth rate of 11% in the next year, that is 21-22. But it cannot be very robust in the sense, the base is low because we had a negative fall this time. So we are saying that we will be growing at 11% in 21-22. So that will be based on a lower base. So to that extent, it is only at a growth rate of 2% as compared to 1920. This is some analysis of the same growth which I showed year-wise. This is quarter-wise because this statistics on GDP growth of various sectors are published on a quarterly basis. And this is published by CSO, Central Statistics Office of National Statistics Office, which comes under Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. So here also, if you watch clearly, the agriculture is showing a robust growth of 3.4%. Almost in the range of 3.5% for the last 6 quarters. But the industry, you can see it has been falling, from the quarter 3 of 1920, and it has been showing a sharp decline in the quarter 1 of 2021 because of the lockdown and related measures. Service sector, I explained to you earlier also, the decline was very, very sharp. The contraction got 20.6% in the quarter 1 and 11% in the quarter 2. So this I'm just putting before you in order to look to these numbers, so that you will have some idea where is the issue lying. I'm going to the next slide. So as I said, whatever we had talked was the supply side part of the economy. Now we would look into the demand side of the economy. Demand side is actually assessed from 3 angles. One is the components are the total consumption. Once you are producing, we saw the production side. We have to have the consumption, because the consumption has to be there in order to use those items which has been supplied in the economy. There are 2 types of consumption. That is called government consumption, where government compensate the employees through the salaries. And the private consumption, our own purchase of goods and services from the market. And then there is a fixed investment. As I said earlier, the fixed investment is an important component of the demand. So there actually we can see in the figures, the fixed investment was 7.8% growth in 17-18. It has declined to 5.4% in 1920, and a significant fall in 2021 because of COVID-19. Exports and imports, they has also fallen. So the 3 components like consumption, investments, and net exports, they are all on negative zone during the year. So next slide shows how much percentage of the share is of the consumption, investment, net exports as part of GDP. Because whenever we are assessing the numbers, we should assess any number from the point of view of GDP, or as a share, as a percentage of GDP. Because if you want to make a comparison with other economies, it is basically on the basis of the share of GDP. If you are saying that Indian economy agriculture is doing well in terms of investment, we are comparing with US or with US, UK, Europe on the basis of the percentage share of GDP in investment. So ultimately, whatever absolute numbers, we have to convert into the percentage GDP for comparison. So as you see, the consumption is actually around 73.4% of our demand. Mainly our demand comes from the consumption. Our fixed investment actually was in 17-18 was 28.2%. It has fallen to 24%. That means we are not having adequate investment in the economy. So this needs to be addressed. So the government will be making suitable policy changes, like Make in India, then opening the private sector. You might have noticed in the budget they have opened up the private sector, like disinvestment of many public sector. So it is in a way to mop up revenue. So then only government will have adequate money, because in the scenario of COVID-19 there has been fall in revenues. Our tax collection has been on down, because every month we are supposed to get 1 lakh crore as GST revenue. But during the COVID period, the first 8 months, our revenue shortfalls was there. It was around 80,000 crores per month. So only from November onwards, the growth has been picking up, growth in the tax revenue. Once the tax revenue falls, the expenditure has to be maintained, because expenditure has to be maintained because we have to provide money for the interest payments, we have to pay for the subsidies, we have to pay for the governmental salaries, we have to pay for the defense expenditure. This is a continuous, this has to go on a regular basis. But if the revenue is falling, we have to, how do we finance it? So we have to finance through borrowings. So there is the role of the fiscal deficit coming. If the fiscal deficit is increasing, then it will have some macroeconomic implications. So we need to grow in such a manner that there should be a robust growth of 6 to 8%. Then we will be able to finance our debts in the sense interest payments, and we will be able to invest for the social sector as well. So I'm just going to the next slide. So I was talking about inflation. Inflation within a range of 4% is good for the economy, because somewhere if the inflation level is stagnant, then people don't have much incentive to produce. Because whatever I get the same money, I mean, if the seller is saying that I don't get much price increase, then people may not have that much incentive to. So inflation range of around 2 to 4% is good to the economy. It will have some incentives for production. But if it crosses a range of 6%, then it will seriously affect our decisions, because the poor people gets affected. They may not have adequate income in their pockets. So you can see that from 2014-15, there has been a decline in inflation. The headline inflation, which I call, is the 4.9 to 4.9 to 4.5, 3.6, 3.4. So during these years, the inflation level actually was robust or benign. We call benign in the sense what it was not hurting the economy. If it goes above 6%, then it will have macroeconomic implications. For that reason, central bank, otherwise called the RBI, they have made a policy. That means within 2 to 4%, that's the range in which the economy will grow. But if it goes above 6%, RBI will request government to do necessary policy measures to bring down the inflation. Then the three components of the inflation are food and beverages. That means whatever money we spend on cereals, pulses, etc., etc. There's a food bar. There's a table there. Then there's fuel and light. The money we spend on gas, spend money on electricity, all these things comes under the fuel and light. Then there's also a group called excluding food and fuel, the funds on service sector. These are all captured in the basic point I would like to say is that the inflation should be within the range of 4 to 6%. And the government policy should be driven in such a way that the inflation should be brought to this range level. This is about the trends in the inflation. So most of the time, the last 5 years, inflation was under control. But during the COVID time, the inflation has shot up. It has gone to 6.6%. Mainly because there was some supply shortages. Because during the COVID time, the transport was not proper. We had to have the food grains coming from north or Andhra Pradesh. So many bottlenecks were found. So to that extent, when the material reaches the market, it takes time, and then there will be some shortages. As a result, the prices has gone up. So now with the winter setting, winter is a time in which there will be a lot of vegetables in the market, especially in the North India. So now the price of this vegetables, pulses, and other essential goods has come down. Then I'm also talking about another aspect of Indian economy, that public debt. Where I told that there was a severe shortfall of government revenues during the COVID period. Then the expenditure has to go as usual. So because we have some dedicated money for the health sector, education, the government sector, salaries has to be paid. So then the government borrows from the market, so almost our liabilities. I mean, this is a consolidated liabilities. It is comes around something like 74% of the GDP in 1920. This we can pay in different years. It's not that we have to pay at a time. So central government liabilities is around 47.5%. State governments as a total, their liabilities about 27% of GDP. So the basic point is that we should have adequate or robust growth in order to sustain the debt. As you see that if adequate salaries are given to the individual, then he will be able to pay his loan without much. If there is some issue relating to salaries, then the loan payment will be affected. So for that reason, in the budget 2021-22, our fiscal deficit is projected to be 99.5% of GDP. And in the year 21-22, it is estimated to be 6.8% of GDP. So we need, the essential point is that the growth must go hand in hand in order to sustain the debt obligations. And another important component is the global growth, because we are just looking from the Indian economy point of view. But India is also exporting as well as importing many things. So our growth is also dependent on the growth of the other countries. If other countries don't grow much, then India's export will also get affected. So we should also see that global growth also is in a higher side. Then only our own raw materials can be sold in their market. For instance, our own IT services, our own service sector products, the services, they can be sold in the foreign markets. So the global growth also should grow robustly, so that we can grow together. So you can see the trends. The global growth contracted by negative 3.5% during 2020. So advanced economies like UK, US, France, etc. There is also minus. COVID is a all-round phenomenon. Then emerging and developing economy, India, China are termed as emerging and developing economy. There also the growth is negative. So as per the IMF, this data is brought about by IMF. So India will be contracting by 8% in 2020. China growth is actually only China has gone the last year, 2.3%. Almost all other countries had a negative growth. So the IMF projects that the global growth will be improving in 2021. It will grow at 5.5%. India to grow at 11.5% in 2021. But that is not although that is, the issue we have to look into, it is growing from a lower base. So our growth will take off, but we have to watch from next year on, maybe in the coming years. So as a student of economics, I would request all of you to have this IMF data, a World Economic Outlook update. That will also give a picture of how the global economy is going up. So I'm just giving you some references. Like economic survey every year brings out the state of economy. Uh, I mean, there are almost 10 chapters there. So first chapter will give you a macro. Macro means an integrated view of the economic system. Then they will look into the agriculture, the fiscal developments, the monetary policy, the external sector, then the industry, the service sector. And, all these things are specifically dealt, and all the data and all the issues are discussed. Then you can also look into the union budget document. That also gives a fairly good picture of the macro economy of the this thing. Then this RBI, Reserve Bank of India, every 2 months they conduct a policy review. Whether the economy is doing well, there are some issues. So then, based on those policies, they fix up the repo rate. Repo rate, as I said, it is the rate fixed by the RBI on the borrowings. You may, if somebody is taking loan, if the repo rate comes down, the loan amount also comes down once the bank transfers that to the customer. So it depends on the emerging economic situation. Then one can look at the World Economic Outlook. Then the Ministry of Finance brings out the monthly economic report on every month. So it is available in the website of the ministry. Then, as I said, the quarterly GDP report is brought out by the CSO, or otherwise called National Statistics Office. The price statistics is also brought by CSO. So if you look into the website, lot of materials are available, and this can be made use of. So this is, thank you for your patient hearing, and for any, I am giving my email address. If you have any points to be clarified or any time to come back to me, you can send mails to me so that I will revert back. Thank you very much.
So thank you, sir. Thank you very much for your presentation, which was definitely valuable, benefited students a lot. I did find that you have done a hard work, because you have presented plenty of data relating to Indian economy, and almost covered most of the macroeconomic fundamentals have been covered in your discussion, and you dealt in detail about economic growth and price stability, which is definitely a problem for the policymakers. Whenever government try to, please, can you hear me? Whenever government, can you hear me, sir?
Yes, I can hear you.
Whenever government try to achieve economic growth, there would be inflation. Inflation would be the menace, the curse. Inflation will raise its ugly head. And again, inflation is the term which is definitely scaring the poorer sections of the society. And you dealt in detail about growth aspect and price stability. Your talk was definitely beneficial to us, and now it is the time for interaction with the students, and I welcome the students to come out with your doubts, please. Students can ask questions.
You can ask any simple question, simple or whatever. Don't hesitate to ask, because while we may say that it is not be very important question, but you please ask, so that way that is way we can learn and go ahead, that's the point. You can talk in Malayalam as well, no problem.
കേൾക്കുന്നുണ്ടോ സാറേ?
കേൾക്കാം.
ആരോ സംസാരിക്കുന്നുണ്ടല്ലോ, ഏതോ ഒരു വിദ്യാർത്ഥി എന്തോ ചോദ്യം ചോദിക്കുന്നുണ്ട്.
കേൾക്കാൻ കഴിയുന്നില്ല.
കഴിയുന്നില്ല അല്ലേ? ഓക്കെ.
ചാറ്റിലോട്ട് ചാറ്റ് ബോക്സിലോട്ട് ട്രാൻസ്ഫർ ചെയ്താലും മതി. ഇനി ആർക്കെങ്കിലും ചോദിക്കാനുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ ചോദിക്കാം കേട്ടോ. There is a question from Asma Sagir. During these lockdown days, many youngsters have come up with so many ventures like home delivery food. And what is the point on these coming ventures? Yes, this is a good question. Actually, many startups have coming up, in the recent years. So this will also help, some alternative, because it's all new ventures which is coming during the COVID time, So government is also trying to supportive of this type of measures, like through the app-based systems. Many things which we were not experienced during the previous 1 year. Now we have been experienced during this lockdown period. Like your communication through this Zoom. So now the government will also think about it. Why should we spend too much money on travel? People go to different countries for attending the seminars or meetings. Now this can be done through the Zoom platform or whatever online platform. So it is, in a way, it is a savings for the government. So, and so we as a youngster, I mean, whatever the main thing, Chief Economic Advisor Arvind Subramanian used to say that you should develop your own ideas. Ideas sometimes may not be that good, but you certainly come with some sort of an ideas, so that it will crystallize. Once you start thinking about it, dreaming about it, this will come up. And I would also like to share something related to the Indian Economic Service, because many times, the people, the students are not knowing how to approach these exams. So after your MA, you can take up these exams. The only thing is that, nowadays the economics has become more mathematical in nature. The econometrics part has become a dominant part of the so that is exactly the reason why the students from Delhi, students from important universities, they get good marks. So at the degree level, one can try. It is not the big mathematics, but the econometrics part. If you also try to excel in those areas, then you can make a big difference in the examination. Because I understand, most of the recent years, the intake has been from mostly from the north side. So they have some grip. Now the engineers are also coming to the economic stream. In the post-graduation, they may be doing the engineering at the BTech level, but after the engineering, they just come to the economics and study it, and they have some good grip on the mathematics part. So my advice will be to you also try to do certain mathematical parts, so that once you come to Delhi for higher studies, this will be extremely useful in JNU, Delhi University, etc., etc. So every year in the Indian Economic Service, they recruit almost 15 candidates. So these candidates will undergo a training program of 1 to 1.5 years. So it will be mostly, this will be training will be in the Institute of Economic Growth at Delhi. Then there is the RBI training. Then they have trainings in different states like, Marine University, then National Institute of Public Finance. And at the end of the period, they also go outside the country for almost 15 days for some Singapore training. So now more and more opportunities are available. So I think you may put some time and energy so that you can also equally participate in these examinations. And my colleagues are also working in Finance Commission, then Niti Aayog. All they can also help you, but they can also come through this online platforms to share their knowledge, so that you are better equipped to understand this matter and then take it forward in your higher studies. Any questions relating to these things? You can just put into the chat box, or you can speak.
Can you hear me, sir?
No, sir. Can you repeat once again, sir?
Okay, I shall repeat definitely. My point is, central government is borrowing around 12 lakh crores. In this budget, it has been specified. So the thing is that definitely it leads to rise in the interest rate and the consequent, what is termed as crowding out effect.
Yes.
Will it adversely affect the private sector? Now the private sector companies are coming out with good growth numbers.
The basic purpose of this government borrowing is actually because of the deficit in the revenue part, So and then there is also a reason for some sort of increased spending by the government to generate demand. So if the demand is not there, then economy will not grow. So for during this recession type of period, so there is need to pump in more and more money into the economy. So the only alternative is through this type of deficit financing. And as long as the deficit financing are sustainable to the growth, if it is not growth, our debt will be further growing. So in order to generate growth, there's a need for further investment. So that's why government would like to put money in the Narega or put money in the more money in the hands of the people. At least you keep spending, so that there will be some sort of upward growth in the economy.
Spending becomes inevitable.
Yes.
Borrowing is also inevitable.
Yeah.
No buoyancy for the government. No
Yes.
buoyancy in tax collection due to pandemic.
Yes.
Okay. Any other doubts from the students' part? Sir, there is a doubt. It has been written. Somebody is asking a doubt. It has been written on the screen. It is in the chat box.
That's a question from Shreyas. Industrial revolution has not happened in India. Neither India has focused on focused on secondary sector after independence. We know secondary sector is necessary to employ extra labor from primary sector and addition. So the point is that, Indian economy has some special characteristics. Like, China has some specialities on manufacturing sector. India is also trying to improve its manufacturing base. But it will take time. So that's the reason why industrial revolution will not happen. But India has a lot of potential in the service sector, especially relating to the IT sector, information technology, softwares, etc., etc. So wherever we have that type of a specialization, we can concentrate on those areas so that our advantage will be there. But we can always aspire for a better manufacturing growth. But once the base has to be set in, then only we'll be able to grow forward. So government is actually looking forward to through some policy initiatives to improve through the Make in India program, Made in India program, etc., etc., to improve the manufacturing base. But it will take time. So in the meantime, we need to concentrate on the service sector and agriculture sector. The productivity has to go up.
So can we wind up the program?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We can do that. Huh?
Okay. So I invite Meherban PC, student representative, for vote of thanks.
Everyone, good morning to all. Today I am here to express a vote of thanks. I would like to extend my thanks to Mr. Abdul Kareem sir. He is an economic advisor in the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting. He is also our alumni. He has completed his undergraduation in the economics of department from Christ College in Nyalikuda. He was a benevolent student of our beloved Bosa. Later, he completed his post-graduation from Dr. John Mathai Center. He also secured IES Indian Economic Service. Today, he talked about the macroeconomic fundamentals and how the economy recovered from the effects of global pandemic so fast because of the strong macroeconomic fundamentals. Mm, he provided his insights regarding the topic, and students benefited a great deal from it. For such a great and comprehensive task, I would like to thank Sir in the behalf of Economics Department Self-Financing. Kindly accept our thanks, Sir. Um, Also, I would like to extend my thanks to faculty and Department of Economics aided. Next, I would like to thank our HOD Bosa for giving us such a great opportunity. Once again, thank you everyone for your participation. Thank you.
Okay, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. It's a great opportunity for me to present before you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
We will continue with the this type of series. Not my own colleagues also will bring here, so that it will become a good platform for knowledge sharing, sir.
Okay. We will pursue that, sir. Definitely.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much, dear students. Thank you. Thank you.
Let us leave.
Sir.
Just leave, sir. Okay.
Thank you.